2,000, son. We did it. I can't believe we are almost to the day, a year into this channel, and we just broke 2,000 subscribers. I want to give a big shout out to Harry Love, who hosted an Instagram live on the weekend and had me on as a guest. It was a great conversation. Talked a little bit about UK hip hop history, as well as how I broke down that Alcoholic Author track. It's a whole lot of fun. If you haven't checked it out, go check out his Instagram account. It's a little long, but hey, you never know, you might enjoy it. Also a big shout out to my boy 36 Chambers. When he asked me what I had planned for 2K, I said I wasn't too sure, and he said, well, you did Leaf Dog for us to celebrate 1,000 subscribers. Why don't you do back-to-back Rhyme Asylum tracks to celebrate 2,000? And then he laughed and he said, basically, a guy can dream. And you know what? Why not? I love these cats. They've been among my favorites since I started the channel. You've heard me call them all kinds of things like horror authors. I love their horror movie imagery, their sound. They have such a unique sound that I haven't heard anything like it in the UK yet. Just everything about them inspires me, man. When I listen to a Rhyme Asylum track, I just want to, break out the laptop and start typing, because they come up with some of the coolest imagery that I just wish that it was me who came up with it. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump into this track called Acts of Violence, which is a cool, nice little play on words there. Let's just jump right in, see what they have for us.
I'm talking about my life. I can't seem to get that through to you. I'm not just talking about one person, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about form. I'm talking about content. I'm talking about interrelationships. I'm talking about God, the devil, hell, heaven. Do you understand? Finally!
Wake up and smell the bodies. Can you take the stench? I was born to kill like David Webb. Live on house on haunted hill.
First off, wake up and smell the bodies. Can you stand the stench? Or something to that effect. What a hard way to start a track. But I'm so happy that I had just introduced my daughter to the Bourne movies, and we burned through them over a couple days. Otherwise, that bar would have went right over my head, man. It's been so long since I had seen them. But I was born to kill like Jason or David Webb. Born as in I was born from my mother. Born as in Jason Bourne. David Webb was Jason Bourne before he became Jason Bourne. In order to become Jason Bourne, he had to kill. But then he had to kill a man to become Jason Bourne, and then once he became Jason Bourne, he killed. That friggin' bar, man, is it's so simple, but at the same time, so absolutely remarkably brilliant. Possessed, man. Goddamn. What a way to start a track. I'm bringing it back.
Hell, heaven, do you understand? Finally!
Wake up and smell the bodies. Can you take the stench? I was born to kill like David Webb. Live on house on haunted hill, where heretics burn at the stake like a Foreman grill. Death defying, my spirit is Satan's most sought after collector's item. Rule universe and be
Death defying, my soul is Satan's most sought after collector's item. Come on now. I like too the fact that he's death defying, so he's not going to die, and because he's not going to die, Satan is pissed off, and he just can't wait for Possessed to finally die, so he could have this prize thing, this thing that he'd put up on a pedestal, Possessed soul. But I like the fact too, the way his mind works is kind of like, it's not whether or not he's going to heaven or hell. He knows he's going to hell, and the devil's down there rubbing his hands. Can't wait for that shit to happen. God damn. Kind of reminds me too, speaking of introducing my daughters to movies, we just finished watching Constantine as well, the Keanu Reeves movie. And that whole scene at the end where the devil and John Constantine are having a conversation. It's the same type of idea as the fact that John Constantine's soul is like, what they say, that it is the only soul that the devil would come up to Earth to collect personally. That just popped out in my head. But yeah, this is a cool freaking track so far.
Heretics burn at the stake like a Foreman grill. Death defying, my spirit is Satan's most sought after collector's item. Rule universe and beyond. Got a poetic license to kill. Word is my bond. Fire a will.
I shouldn't have paused it there. I'm gonna let it play for a second. But I love that, a poetic license to kill. License to kill, James Bond. But then word is my bond. And then you hear that shoot to kill, that little background vocal.
Got a poetic license to kill. Word is my bond. Fire a will. Offered the mouth. Connor McLeod. Bringing apocalypse now. Want the same deal.
I'm not going to pause it every bar, I promise. But poetic license to kill. Word is my bond. So James Bond. His word is all he has. He has his word and his balls. That's what he's saying, man. My word is my bond. And then I shoot off at the mouth. So again, he shooting as in a gun, shooting off in his mouth. He uses his word is his gun. His word is his bond. He shoots off in the mouth. He kills with his words. Like, so much going on, man, in a small friggin'. And then he brings in Highlander, brings in Apocalypse Now. Jesus Christ.
Offered the mouth, Connor McLeod, bringing Apocalypse Now. Want the same deal that was offered to Faust. Got precinct screaming, officer down. It's every man for it.
So again, he brings it full circle, man, because Faust is basically makes a deal with the devil for soul, and like allowed him to do anyways. But he brings it all the way full around to the fact of what was it? I can't even remember what bar it was, but it wasn't too far from the beginning. Basically saying his soul is the devil's most sought after collector item, which would bring it again full circle over to the Faust, the novel.
To Faust, got precinct screaming, officer down. It's every man for himself. I'm Gambit, hit the deck when I played a hand I was dealt. Explosion, my opponent sought tough, but
It's every man for himself. I'm Gambit. Was he something with the cards he was dealt and hit the deck and then explosion, because Gambit, the X-Men who has explosive cards, playing the hand that he's dealt, because that's all you got, man. You take the cards you were given and do what you can with them.
officer down. It's every man for himself. I'm Gambit, hit the deck when I played a hand I was dealt.
Sorry, I know, I just paused. But even that, I didn't even catch that. It really didn't come to me the first time as hit the deck, because another thing, you got the deck of cards, you got hit the deck as in fall to the floor, hit the deck, and then you got hit the deck in cards. Sometimes you say hit me. Masters, man, these guys are masters the way they use the English language. I can't go beyond that. This masterpiece.
It's every man for himself. I'm Gambit, hit the deck when I played a hand I was dealt. Explosion, my opponent sought tough but wouldn't harm a Jeff Goldblum.
A family ran in the woods and was attacked by a band of escaped Army psychiatric patients who'd been subjected to violent, hellish, torturous behavior modification experiments. Seems they escaped from the metal boxes the Army kept them in. Found his family.
I have to pause it. wouldn't harm a Jeff. They talk tough, but they wouldn't harm a Jeff Goldblum. Wouldn't harm a fly. Come on, seriously.
In the woods, fell upon them, slaughtered them at 8.
Yo, I beat the odds till I'm breaking even. A raging demon driving crucifixes into pagan heathens. Typhonic raining season.
Okay, I want to hear that again.
Yo, I beat the odds till I'm breaking even. A raging demon driving crucifixes into pagan heathens. Typhonic.
Okay, first off, that first part, beat the odds and breaking even, which are two things that usually aren't thought of. Usually when you beat the odds, is you succeed, you don't break even. But at the same time, I'm thinking that he's using the like beat and break rather than actually beat and break. I mean, it would fit with their personality and their lyrics, right? And then talking about being a raging demon, driving crucifixes into did you say pagan heathens? Something to that effect. Even that, you think like the first one was kind of like an opposite. The second one, again, is kind of opposite, because when you think of a demon, a crucifix is something that will scare a demon away. In movies and stuff, they always use The Exorcist is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite books. A lot of that religious symbolism, cross and all that kind of stuff, holy water, drives a demon away. Not you don't think of a demon picking up a crucifix and stabbing it and driving it into a person. But not only is he doing that, he's using a religious symbol as a weapon, which we could have an entire discussion about that shit. How many wars have been waged in the name of God? Countless, obviously. Probably billions of deaths have been lay at the feet of religion. But the symbolism of, and like to kill, you're killing a pagan heathen with a religious artifact, a religious tool, symbol. I mean, that is, to me, that is such a cool friggin' visual. To me, I'm thinking about, like, because right now the book I'm writing is all about demons and the fight, like on Earth, and good and evil and all that kind of shit. So I'm just thinking how ironic that would be to actually see an atheist take on a demon, doesn't believe that he's fighting a demon, and the demon uses a religious symbol to actually kill the person who doesn't believe in religion. Like the ironicness of that is so. It's so beautiful. It really is. I wish I'd come up with it.
Raining season, 3-4 without my heart rate increase.
I think I missed something there. Hang on a second.
Yo, I beat the odds till I'm breaking even. A raging demon driving crucifixes into pagan heathens. Typhonic raining season, 3-4 without my heart rate increasing, or a change in my pace of breathing. Skin coated in solar panels, absorb the sun's energy, radiate golden shadows. Colder than frozen polar mammals, faster than bows and arrows.
That's one of those bars, man, that is just straight visual. I don't even want to try to break that shit down, but that visual of him strapping solar panels to his body and absorbing the sun, and rather than having a black shadow, his shadow would end up, he'd be radiating golden sunlight, and his shadow would be golden rather than black. Like, just the visual of that is so friggin' cool. I don't know what he means by it. I'm having a hard time unpacking that as I'm talking. But just that, man, maybe it's just I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and unpack that. I just wanted to stop because that visual is so freaking cool to me.
Piece of breathing, skin coated in solar panels, absorb the sun's energy, radiate golden shadows, colder than frozen polar mammals, faster than bows and arrows and bullets, leaving revolver barrels, rush back for revenge, speed cameras, screen apertures, cave in and shatter the lens, hang upside down inside.
So he's faster than bows bows and arrows. He's faster than a bullet leaving a revolver barrel. He rushes back. Does he say a rush back for revenge? Basically, so he's so fast that even a camera can't pick him up, and like the insides of the camera just crush and cave, and lenses smash, and another brilliant visual, man. I think about with it too. It's like he's rushing back for revenge. So it's not like he's running from something. He's running towards something. Jesus Christ. Again, these guys with these visuals, like, again, like there's something that I wish I had written. Like I can imagine in a horror movie or a book with like these security cameras aimed out into this dark field outside of this mansion, and he's so fast that he runs past and climbs the wall, and it's like you just imagine these cameras just shattering inside, because this trying to the sheer act of trying to catch him on film just shatters. Like, that's fucking dope, man. That's so awesome.
Speed cameras, screen apertures cave in and shatter the lens. Hang upside down inside the church's steeple, suspended in pits of hypodermic needles. My saliva burns cathedrals to sand. Write 2 different verses at the same time of each of my hands. Born an unstoppable force, a tropical storm, freestyling the oracle's thoughts, locked in a hospital ward.
My God.
Oh, now that story gave me nightmares not to be believed.
Man, how he finishes up this track. One that he's talking about hanging upside down from church steeples. Another great friggin' visual, hypodermic needles. And it's like he spits so much venom, he's so much acid, so much hate in his lyrics and his words. So much darkness that it's like it burns down churches. It melts rock and sand and like all that. Awesome. And then he ends it with that. What did he say? Something about freestyling the oracle's words by locked in the hospital ward. So in my mind, the oracle is like the seer of all things, seer of future, all that kind of stuff. So, but because he's doing that, he's freestyling, he's saying those words, and rather than anyone believing him, they lock him in a hospital ward where he's just there, just spitting out truth, and they just think it's craziness. I've often said that, like, being raised as a Roman Catholic and being taught about the second coming and all that kind of stuff. I've often said that if there ever was a second coming of Christ, it may have already happened, and they locked the dude up and put him in a mental hospital, because no one these days, especially these days, no one would believe that shit. They'd lock him away, fill him full of sedatives, and he's tied to a bed somewhere, drooling all over himself. Like, that's just the way it is, man. No one would believe it. No one would believe that stuff. So that's a cool way to end that track, man. For a song that's 2 minutes and 38 seconds long, I've spent 20 minutes breaking this shit down, because every bar in that track is so much fun, and even that he's talking about writing 2 verses simultaneously with both of his hands. When I was about to say something about it, and now that I think about it, is he saying he's writing 2 verses, so he's reading 1 and 1, or because he says each of my hands? So really, is he saying I'm writing 4 verses? Is that what he's saying? But you could be, because he's saying I'm writing 2 with each of my hands. So he could be writing 4 friggin' verses at the same time using both of his hands. 2 would be madness. 4 would just be, it's even more mind numbing. Like, you know what I'm saying? what a mad track, man. So I'm gonna pause it here for a second. I'm gonna go check out the second track. For the love of me, I don't remember what it's called, so I have to go back, check the message, and then find it and get it ready. So I'll be back in a sec. So this second track is called Stark Raving Genius. It's 5 minutes 26 seconds long, which is like double the length of the last video. So I'll do my best to make sure that when I add them together that we don't have like an hour-long video here. But yeah, just gonna jump right in and start this over here. Let's just jump right in and see what it's all about.
Yo, brain is demented in a major state of depression. Since the day I was sectioned, I was laced with painful injections. Under intense surveillance, and when mental patients attempt escaping, the ventilation releases deadly vapors. Locked away in a cell that's pitch black, completely dark. I kick back and weeks have passed as I conversate with myself. Alone in a cage, no hope of escape. Can't get hold of a blade, so I grew my nails long enough to open my veins. A manic, depressed, and suicidal. Tried to remove my eyeballs and made a gallant attempt to snap in my neck.
Okay, first off, I'm pretty sure this is Plasma. I haven't heard a ton from him. I've heard enough from Asylum to know Cyclone and Possessed quite well, and obviously I know Skirmish. But yeah, man, this is some pretty visual stuff going on here. The fact that he's talking about how he's trying to find ways to break his neck. He can't get his hands on anything that he can actually cut his wrist with, so he lets his fingernails grow in order to he can claw out his own veins out of his wrist, tearing out his trying to tear out his own eyeballs. Is that so he doesn't have to? You know, he's stuck there. He's being experimented on. He's getting put needles. Painful injections, the shit coming in through the vents. Is his idea about taking out his eyeballs is that he doesn't have to see this stuff happening to him, but he only has to feel it and experience it. He doesn't have to see it. Or maybe he's having like he's seeing things that really aren't there, so he wants to tear his eyeballs out, thinking that that'll fix the problem. Huh, okay.
Suicidal, tried to remove my eyeballs and made a gallant attempt to snap in my neck. Was on the verge of insanity, then entered the asylum, ventured in my mind with plans to never return to reality. And constant war with the demons within, waking up in a state with razor cuts to the veins deep in my skin. And doctors making observations on a constant basis. Patients locked in cages, inhaling toxic vapors. Unattractive features.
Okay, what? As I was talking it out, I'm kind of, because he's talking about under constant observation, this toxic vapors and inhaling. Like I wonder if like the mental asylum is more of a metaphor. We're a minute in, it'll become more clear, but I wonder if it's more of a metaphor, or is basically the asylum. The asylum itself is society, and people, the people who are observing him and making these observations about him. You got the cameras in the UK, the CTV cameras. I wonder if that's kind of what he's getting at. He's going so insane by all of it. He just wants to go inside of his mind and escape into the side of his. He's going insane, so he wants to escape inside of his mind and not return to reality. Like I said, it'll become more clear as we go here. But I'm as I was talking the first time, that was an idea that kind of took shape. Let's keep going.
The faces, patients locked in cages, inhaling toxic vapors. Unattractive features, having seizures in the corridors, and I contract diseases. Rats are feeding off my rotten corpse. Decrepit and violent, abandoned mental asylum, where every hospital ward is unattended and silent.
I want to hear that back again, because he said my rotting corpse. I want to make sure I heard that.
In the corridors, and I contract diseases. Rats are feeding off my rotten corpse. Decrepit and violent, abandoned mental asylum. Asylum, where every hospital ward is unattended and silent. The level of corruption's.
See, this is what I'm thinking, right? Because it's an abandoned hospital ward. It really makes me think that that the insane asylum is really inside of his head. Again, unless it's just like, you know, they're the horror movie type of lyrics that they do. Maybe it really is this far off hospital in the woods that has long ago been abandoned, but they take the worst of the worst to this place, and where there's rats in the hallways and there's corpses on the ground dying, or corpses on the ground being fed on by rats. You know, and they're just experimented on and all that kind of shit. And then the doctors and the nurses go home and they leave all these people who are going insane. They leave them alone with their insanity in these empty hallways and stuff.
Asylum, where every hospital ward is unattended and silent. The level of corruption's a cause for concern, cause at night the inmates are sent into the dungeon, tortured and burned, and patients with self-inflicted fatal wounds, watching docs and radiation suits, taking patients through to operation rooms. Demented in dreams, on the edge of resting in peace. Knives, rope, pills, euthanasia vending machines, heroin fiends strapped to a bed of syringes, one-way acid trips when you're sent to this medicine clinic, kept in padded cells and metal cages. Mental patients, shot therapy, high voltage dental braces. At night time I scream myself to sleep, scared of the crippled man crawling that no one else can see. A weeping widow.
What a friggin' visual that is. But even how Cyclone goes up with this here, it just screams to me that they're talking about society. I could be way off, man. You guys know sometimes I grasp at straws, but now that seed's in my head, everything that I'm hearing makes more sense. It's feeding that seed right now. Everything that I hear. But I'm gonna bring him back here.
Sent to this medicine clinic, kept in padded cells and metal cages, mental patients, shot therapy, high voltage dental braces. At night time I scream.
Because he's talking about like being kept in these rooms and these metal cages, and I'm seeing these as kind of like, you know, I'm seeing these as like these apartment buildings and basement apartments and you know, tiny rooms that they're just sent and forgotten, and this is where the heroin addicts and where they lay on a bed of needles and stuff. It's like, I just see this as that's what it is. It's like often the insane are cast into the shadows of society and are forgotten, and then left to their own devices, left to go further insane, and you know, sitting there in a room watching this like crippled man crawling on the ground that only he can see. Yeah, man, this is freaking dope. These lyrics. This is the other tracks I've done from these guys have been much more straightforward, lyrically beautiful and haunting, but straightforward. This one to me is so intricate and layered, and can be obviously you're watching me do it now. It can be unpacked and interpreted by different people multiple ways, I'm sure. Let's keep going.
Mental patients, shot therapy, high voltage dental braces. At night time I scream myself to sleep, scared of the crippled man crawling that no one else can see. A weeping widow, eyes black and miserable. An old lady sits searching for the future in a shattered crystal ball. Locked away with crazed doctors to wait to operate. I hear voices.
So I see that as dementia, what he's talking about there. And often, again, seniors are much like how society treats its seniors very much the same way as they treat people with mental illness. They're given very little support and shuffled away into the corners. Go do your thing until you die, eating cat food and living in filth, and your mind is slowly leaves you, and looking at a shattered crystal ball, and that's the mind is the crystal ball. So the past is erased, and they can't find their past because the dementia has taken that away from them. But also can't see the future, because often our past is the path to our future. And also, if you're in a state of dementia and stuff, there really is no future, really. So that's a brilliant line, man.
I scream myself to sleep, scared of the crippled man crawling that no one else can see. A weeping widow, eyes black and miserable. An old lady sits searching for the future in a shattered crystal ball. Locked away with crazed doctors the way to operate. I hear voices and they're all telling me that I'm not insane. Treatment rooms for the 7 sins, mistaken for gluttony. Women with prosthetic limbs expecting twins, shedding skins with a carving knife. Involuntary organ donors waking up in a bath of ice. Start raving mad, maniac, ugly looks, vacant stares, cracked mirrors, masturbate with rusty hooks. A building that hangs off the edge of
Jesus Christ. But even they're talking about like the people, the nasty looks and stuff. It's, it's the people who are walking down the street talking to themselves, and everybody kind of steers clear of them. They give them the dirty looks, give them the stares. Man, this is all kinds of brilliance right here.
donors waking up in a bath of ice. Start raving mad, maniac, ugly looks, vacant stares, cracked mirrors, masturbate with rusty hooks. A building that hangs off the edge of a cliff, spoke of in legend and myth. Razors turn rusty, left in the wrist. Mentally sick, resisting my medicine, dismissing my...
Another thing too, like that, the razors turning rusty left in the wrist can be used both ways, because often when blood dries, it actually dries to a rusty color rather than a bright red. But also, cutting the wrist and just leaving the blade there would become bloody and rusty. But also at the same time, it's there for so long that it would just steel rusts eventually. And that whole thing too about often the time when you have a mental illness that you're dealing with, he's talking about all these voices are telling him he's not the one that's insane. And that's often the way when you're in a state of mental illness. It's very difficult for you to see and understand your mental illness. You see everyone else as having the issue and having the problem, and you don't see what's wrong with you. So that's what he's saying, is like all the people in my head are telling me that I'm not insane. But again too, that could also be another way of saying the people he's surrounded himself with agree with him. So if this is a song about society and the way it's degraded and degrading, and the people who are considered crazy are the people who are really seeing the truth, and the voices that he surrounds himself with is agreeing with him, saying you really aren't crazy, dude, this is really happening.
Excellence, my thoughts cover walls written in excrement. Beneath flickering lights we beg for mercy. I hear relentless ticking, yet every clock is stuck on 7:30.
Twisted hospital, haunted by a cold dementia. Doors lock and padded walls turn to spikes and slowly close together. Can't break my restraints in half, so I chew through my aching arms. The doctors are 8 times more deranged than the patients are. Panic attacks in the darkness, natural disasters. Psychopaths in barbed wire nooses hang from the rafters.
No, I gotta bring this back.
Yet every clock is stuck on 7:30.
Twisted hospital, haunted by a cold dementia. Doors lock and padded walls turn to spikes and...
See, again, I'm sure you cats are always great, and you tell me that I'm way off on this, but I am 100% sure now that this is what they're talking about, because he's even talking about that is ruled, right? So again, society being ruled by a politician, by a leader, and this fact too, like he can't get out of the. I think he says something about like can't get out of the restraints, so he chews through his arms instead. And that again is to the point of being into the restraints that society puts you in, the rules and all that kind of stuff. And so he's shackled by those, but he chews through his own arms, so he's able to break free from that.
Twisted hospital, haunted by a cold dementia. Doors lock and padded walls turn to spikes and slowly close together. Can't break my restraints in half, so I chew through my aching arms. The doctors are 8 times more deranged than the patients are. Panic attacks in the darkness, natural disasters. Psychopaths in barbed wire nooses hang from the rafters. Broken fingernails left gripping the ceiling, and your neck collar will explode if you attempt to breach the perimeter region. Duct tape preventing communication. Cold sweats in pitch black icy rooms, demented hallucinations. Phobias taken to their vertical limits. Twisted priests resurrect Satan's soul through surgical spirit. Hearts beat so loud you hear them pound as they palpitate. Sense of sour taste gargling, mouthfuls of scalpel blades. We all look essential.
Freaking possessed, man. I gotta bring that back. What a friggin' visual of demented priests resurrecting, exorcising the demons up.
Implemented hallucinations, phobias taken to their vertical limits. Twisted priests resurrect Satan's soul through surgical spirit. Hearts beat so loud you hear them pound as they palpitate. Sense of sour taste gargling, mouthfuls of scalpel blades. We all look essentially the same, but I'm mentally insane. Shouting in identity parades. Fallen angels are stuffed into torture chambers and crushed, then burnt alive into holy water, vapor and dust. Placebo switch for dangerous drugs, disguising the medicine. I'm highly intelligent, that side of my mind is irrelevant. Expressionless wide eyes and venereal blisters. I shower in the blood.
That side of his mind is irrelevant. So when you have a mental illness, you're seen as one thing. It doesn't matter anything else. So it doesn't matter how intelligent he is. That can't. People fail to see that. They just see the illness.
Mind is irrelevant, expressionless wide eyes and venereal blisters. I shower in the blood of victims of serial killers. Trapped forever, no way of running scared. The front door's left wide open for anyone that wanders in unaware.
I'm patient for 7 years, yet to see the light of day. A telekinetic mind to set me free from tight restraints. That's what I keep telling myself inside my brain. I know I'm a genius. Doctors think my mind's insane. Avoid the dark corners of cells. Powerful vacuums leading into black holes or portals to hell. Forced to torture ourselves for pleasant thinking. Dead security guards are monitoring closed circuit television. Tracking device embedded in my collarbone. Bloody letters on the wall spelling out the words you're not alone. Strapped down with a straight jacket and several chains wrapped round and welded to the bed's metal frames. They're upside down, hung from the ceiling. Unknown creatures live in my flesh, prompting uncomfortable feelings. Mirrors reflecting black and white. Escape is pointless. All the corridors interconnecting back to mine. Inmates have half-shaven heads, can't take the stress, so each arms laid to rest on the sharp razor's edge. Raise the dead on escape attempt, shoveling mud, bathing depths of AIDS infected, bubbling blood. Eternally cursed by your mortal life. A schizophrenic, as permanently disconnected from my normal side, so I'll never be the same. And just when I figure it out, a pill's placed into my mouth and my memories erased.
Our reality is just what we tell each other it is. Sane and insane could easily switch places if the insane were to become the majority. You would find yourself locked in a padded cell. Padded cell. Locked in a padded cell. Wondering what happened to the world.
So Skirmish Man finishes that track. He finishes hard, man, and I didn't want to pause it. I wanted to let it go because this is going to be a long ass video. Plus he had a really like. I just wanted to go, man. He was going off. I was let him finish. And the way that he finishes with that, you basically take this a pill is placed in his mouth, and then he forgets that any of this kind of happened. And that was like the final nail in the coffin for me. You guys can let me know if I'm far off on this, but I really do see this as, and even that little sample at the end, kind of about like the people who, you know, in society right now, it's the people who have mental illness, people who are insane are the minority, but it's impossible for us to look at how they see it. In, you know, it could be flipped over, and the people who are people who feel as if they're thinking sensibly, they'd be the ones that are in the padded cell. But anyway, yeah, man, cool, deep track. I honestly believe that it is, this whole mental asylum is really just a metaphor for all the things, depression, drug abuse, suicidal thoughts, like all that kind of stuff. Is like a lot of people have this asylum inside their minds. The asylum is society itself, the way we treat people with mental illness, the way we put them away into the darkness. And even Skirmish at the end is talking about he tries to stay away from the corners where the shadows are, because it's a black hole. A black hole sucks stuff in and it's gone forever. So I mean, that's the way I look at it too, man. Like if you're sent too far into the corners, the shadows of society, there is no coming back from that. Man, what a dope track. And like I said during the video, it's by far the most in-depth song that I've done. I'm sure. I mean, I've only done 5 or 6 songs, but this is by far the most layered song that I've heard from them. Is so in-depth, interwoven. Thoroughly impressed, man. These guys always do. Another great track with a lot of great horror movie visuals. Big fan of it. Big shout out to all you guys, man. I know this is a long video. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I can't believe we've reached the 2,000 mark. I can't believe we reached 1 year. I can't believe we're still growing. I love each and every one of y'all. I want to thank you all. March 27th, I'm going to be going on live. To celebrate 2,000 subscribers. Have a couple beers, watch some videos together, have some fun, have a little bit of chatting. Look forward to seeing you guys there. Until tomorrow, stay safe and be good to each other.